A beginning is a very difficult time. Know then that it is the year 2016. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the year 10,191, which is the year the movie DUNE is set. Which I think is pretty cool, because the thing is, when you have a science fiction film, and it's only set about 30 years in the future, in 30 years it's going to look extremely dated. Well, set the movie way in the future. There's your answer, yeah. So yes, nobody can say that's inaccurate, or if it is inaccurate, there'll be some considerable time before they can say that, yeah. But also it makes you really feel like you're in another world, another time, yeah. You can escape totally to a different world, yeah. And, well, DUNE, before my time, I had never even heard of the film until I was about 18 years old. A friend of mine recommended it to me, and he said, if you're into science fiction, you must see this film, yeah. I saw it in a video store, because yes, it was videos back in the day. I had a look and considered it, and then a year later decided to get it, you know, judge it for myself. The first time I saw the movie DUNE, my reaction was, what the heck was that all about? No, I couldn't understand what on earth was going on. Just a load of random stuff that happens in no particular order. So yeah, no, I didn't really like it the first time I saw it, and I thought I'd seen it all. I thought I'd seen every kind of science fiction there was, but no. This was very strange, surreal and dreamlike, you know, very strange indeed. So, what I did was I watched DUNE again. I was willing to give it a second chance, but I watched it in bits, in chunks of like 20 or 30 minutes. So that way the story could slowly unfold and it could slowly sink in. I did it again, watched it in bits, and then after that watched the whole thing all the way through. Now, although at first viewing it appears to be a really complicated plot, it is actually fairly straightforward. Yeah, it's good versus evil, people fighting for control over the planet Arrakis, aka DUNE, because they're fighting over spice. If you eat this spice, it gives you these psychic powers, so you can see visions of the future, you can travel without moving, you can see what's going on in any part of the universe, yeah, which is very useful for navigation, and it gives you a big military advantage when you're trying to take over other planets, yeah. And DUNE came out. It took 3 years to make. It cost about $40 million. So it was in production hell. It took much longer than was originally intended to make. And it bombed when it first came out. It only made about half the budget in return. However, it did gain a big subcult following over the years and is regarded as a sci-fi classic now. I think because people didn't get it, you know, including myself. The first time you see it, you can't understand what on earth is going on. But it takes time to get into it. It's one of those films you need to see more than once, yeah. And it was they took some liberties. They changed a few things, like in the desert. Originally, the characters do martial arts in the desert. They changed it and made them have laser guns. But they shout out some sort of, you know, kung fu, like hi-ya, ha-sa, which makes the laser guns fire. I thought, wait a minute, combining martial arts with science fiction elements, that's like the Jedi Knights. Yes. So, well, DUNE was made to cash in on the success of the Star Wars trilogy. Yes, they wanted to. It should work. It should have worked, but it didn't. You know, Star Wars is a bit more down to earth, whereas DUNE is a lot more surreal, and you need to be a lot more open-minded to take in what's going on. And there are scenes where are filmed in a strange, hazy way, but then after you've seen it a few times, you realise that's kind of the point, because Paul Atreides, the hero, sees visions of the future, but the visions are very vague. They don't specify what they mean, so you need to figure it out. Yes, and in the same way, you, the viewer, need to figure out what's going on, what these visions mean. But when you've seen it a few times, yep, the visions make perfect sense. That explains why that happened there and that happened there. Bit more visual aid, some DUNE books. This is a prelude to DUNE, House Atreides, so a prequel, yes. And here we have another prequel here about House Harkonnens. And here we have the original book here, DUNE, yes. So yes, DUNE, a lot of filmmakers wanted to make it, but it wasn't. It's all about timing, yes. Because of the Star Wars craze, the mid-80s seemed a good time to make the DUNE movies. And do I like the movie DUNE? Well, I do now, but it was a lot to take in, yeah. Oh yes, and I suppose I must mention Sting. Sting is in it. He was the most famous person in the film when the film was made. There are other actors in it that have gone on to be quite famous, but when it was made, he was the most famous. And he's barely in it. The whole gimmick of the film is he's in it, yes, but he's barely in it at all. And there's, spoiler alert, an epic battle between the hero and Sting's character at the end. But it's not really the same as Luke Skywalker fighting Darth Vader, because we get to know Darth Vader, we know a lot about him. This Sting character, who's just called Fade, we barely see him at all. So it's not really very dramatic when a character you barely know is going to have a fight to the death of the hero. No, it's just silly, yeah. Why was Sting given so little screen time? Maybe it's because he wasn't a proper trained actor, so they thought it's not going to work if he's given lots of time, so they just give him a few bits. And Sting does a half-decent job, yes, but it's a bit silly, it's a bit too commercial. It's like, in the 80s they did that, had pop stars being in films, even though they're not trained actors, to get a bigger audience. Well, if you want a big audience, you have to tell a story really well. And I haven't actually read the original Dune book. I've read one of the prequels. But from what I've been told, Paul Atreides does have magic powers, but they exaggerate, make his powers more. They spiced it up. Oh, big pun there. Spice it up because he uses spice to do the thing, yeah. And another criticism I have is his love interest, Chani. They could have given her a bit more screen time, yeah. I want her to be a bit more than just the love interest, yeah. But in spite of that, it does have a beautiful love theme between Chani and Paul Atreides, yeah. And although I understand it better, I don't fully understand the movie Dune. There's still some unanswered questions, like the Harkonnens are the baddies, yes, and the Fremen, is that a pun on the word freemen? Oh, anyway, the Fremen, the people that live on Dune, they hate the Harkonnens and they want to get rid of them. Now the Harkonnens, they want the spice, and the Emperor of the Universe, he wants the spice as well, and so does the Atreides family. Now when Paul leads the Fremen, it works. They get rid of the Harkonnens, stop their spice production, they stop the Emperor's spice production. But what about the Atreides? Are the Fremen the enemy of the Atreides as well? Has Paul turned his back on the Atreides? Is he a Fremen now? I don't fully understand. You know, are the Atreides the enemy of the Fremen or not? I don't fully understand that bit. Yeah. And also, why do the Fremen hate the Harkonnens in the first place? Don't they pay for their spice? Don't they need them to sell the spice to? Or do the Harkonnens just take it? Yeah. So as you can see, still some unanswered questions. So I need to read the original book. I've only read the prequel, but I haven't read the original. So although I understand it better, I don't fully understand it. Still some unanswered questions, yeah. But in spite of the fact that I never understood it the first time I saw it, it was intriguing. So my advice is this. If you haven't seen it, see the film, and you won't understand it at first, but it will intrigue you, make you want to see more, yes. In other words, after you've seen Dune a few times, then you can really enjoy it. Okay, thanks for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.